Howdy folks, you've made it just in time for another marvelous anime video. Anime and manga are no strangers to overpowered villains and protagonists, some of whom could destroy entire galaxies without even breaking a sweat. As the medium has progressed over the years, we've seen power levels that really push the boundaries of incredulity. Therefore, it was a breath of fresh air when the mangaka, who simply goes by his pseudonym 1, or Tomohiro, presented to the world his work titled One Punch Man. The series is a satire on not just the entire shounen genre, but also society in general. It follows the story of a deadpan superhero called Saitama, who has acquired such immense powers that he can destroy any foe with a single punch. The series builds up the villains in traditional shonen fashion as these galactic threats, only for them to be annihilated by a single punch from a balding, disinterested hero. However, the focus of our video today isn't Saitama, but someone who's perhaps more aligned with our traditional understanding of what a hero is. Today, we'll be exploring the character of Blast, one of the most powerful heroes in the entire series. In a world where being a hero is a career that guarantees fame and fortune, Blast seeks none of the adulation and wealth, operating in secrecy to protect humanity from threats they aren't even aware of. His overwhelming power places him at the pinnacle of the hero society, with many believing him to be capable of pulverizing multiple S-class heroes, even if they were to attack him at once. In this video, we'll slowly peel back the layers of his character and show how Blast stands not just as a symbol of strength, but of the resilience of the human spirit. We'll touch on how his conflict with God has secretly shaped not just his life, but that of so many others within this universe. There's no stone that's going to be left unturned as we dive into this video with the new season of One Punch Man upon us. So strap up and join us as we explore the man who chose to defy God himself and live to tell the tale. Blast. Let's begin. The history of Blast. The origins of Blast's abilities are shrouded in mystery, and no one really knows how he gained his powers or when he decided to become a hero. Despite being affiliated with the Hero Association, he continues to operate outside of it, which further adds to his enigmatic public persona. From what we know, Blast has been around for more than 2 decades, which means that he predates a number of S-rank heroes. Tatsumaki once mentioned meeting him over 18 years ago when she was still a child. During that meeting, Blast had saved her life, which had a profound impact on her decision to become a hero herself down the line. He encouraged her to rely on her own strength to protect her family instead of relying on others, which allows her to start having faith in her own abilities. In one of her flashbacks, we get to see a much younger Blast with some noticeable changes to his current appearance. In that vision, his armor is clearly less worn out, and he also doesn't have his iconic sunglasses and scars. While Blast is the rugged veteran who defends humanity from the shadows now, he was once a family man as well. Blast was married to a female ninja called Selenian Luna, who belonged to the same village as his former partner turned enemy, Empty Void. In fact, Selenian Luna was Void's sister who had been dispatched by the former to keep a tab on his friend's discoveries. This was because Void, at that time, was investigating the Agony Foundation, the group responsible for creating the Hero Association, and a genius scientist who was working with Blast. Since Selenian was extremely loyal to her village and her brother, she immediately accepted his orders and married Blast in order to pass on information to Void. While Void was confident in his sister's loyalty to him and their village, what he didn't account for was her actually falling in love with her target. Since Blast and Selenian had similar perceptive natures, they instantly clicked with each other and began developing feelings. The result of their love would be their son, called Blue, who would go on to become a top hero in the new Neo Heroes organization. Blast's happy marriage would, however, be cut short when a minion of God would kill his wife. Her death's timing would, however, coincide with Void being extremely close to uncovering his secrets, which would lead his partner to believe that Blast had killed his own wife. However, after witnessing the genuine grief that Blast was showing for his sister's death, Void understands that Blast would never have committed such a deed. In due course, even Void would get corrupted by God and become his nemesis, as he would be forced to put down his brother-in-law. Following these traumatic events, Blast would dedicate himself to avenging his wife by traversing dimensions and space to confront any sign of God and his minions to save humanity from its corrupting influence. Due to his ability to traverse dimensions, many fans believe that he's not entirely human and, just like the antagonist God, might be an interdimensional being. What's your favorite origin theory regarding Blast? Let us know in the comments, we'd love to hear it. Exploring Blast's personality. Blast is the very definition of aura, with his awe-inspiring presence that allows him to command instant respect from all those around him, whether it be friend or foe. This is despite him not being around constantly in the Heroes Association, much to the chagrin of the association's staff. Even if he is missing most of the time, he possesses a personality which likes to keep himself on top of everything going on in and around him. We get a glimpse of this when he not only knows Flash's rank, but also his name, despite meeting the hero for the first time. We've already mentioned that he has a mentor-like side to him when it comes to Tatsumaki, and this is further proven when he asks Saitama to pass on his regards to Sich and Tatsumaki when he meets the Bald Crusader for the first time. Considering the weight of his secret mission, the amount of time he's been around for, and the immense power he possesses, one could easily be forgiven for thinking that Blast is an uptight and stoic badass, but this couldn't be further from the truth. While he is extremely focused and intense when things get serious, for the most part, he possesses a laid-back attitude which can be highly disarming considering his status. He also possesses a strong mental resilience that has allowed him to operate in the dark without being corrupted by creatures like God and the numerous horrors he must have encountered in his journey. It really says a lot about his nature when he can maintain such a laid-back personality, considering what rests on his shoulders. Even though most people are either unaware of his existence or doubt his commitment due to his absence, the truth is nobody cares about humanity as much as Blast. In this way, Blast is the perfect hero, working for the good of the world, taking on the strongest threats there are, without any desire for adulation, fame, or wealth. Powers and attributes: lightning-fast speed and agility. From what we've seen of Blast when he's in action, he has the speed and agility to match even the fastest S-class heroes like Flashy Flash. His movements during their brief clash were in fact so out of this world that Flash, a hero renowned for his speed, was barely able to perceive Blast's movement. You have to keep in mind that this is despite his muscular build and heavy armor. What made it highly impressive was not just seeing him dodge the attacks, but the effortless nature with which he did so. To further highlight his remarkable speed and reflexes, let's talk about his role in the Saitama versus Awakened Garu fight. I think, first of all, we can all agree that these two easily surpass the speed of Flashy Flash. The fact that Blast is able to keep up with them and hold his own speaks volumes about his own ridiculous speed and reflexes. As if this weren't enough, he's also defeated Void, a former ally of his who has been enhanced and turned into a monster by God. Ninjas are some of the fastest and most agile individuals in almost every piece of media that they're portrayed in, and Void was already considered the strongest ninja in One Punch Man even prior to his corruption. The fact that Blast can pulverize him and come out on top makes his superhuman speed and reflexes beyond any question. Indomitable physical prowess and durability. As if it wasn't scary enough that someone with his size could move at that speed, Blast also possesses superhuman strength. You see, those mysterious cubes that Blast is often seen twirling around his finger like a basketball, when Flashy Flash tries to pick one of them up, it literally pins his arm to the floor. While strength might not be Flash's strongest suit, he's still an S-rank hero. It's safe to assume that there are only a handful of people in the universe that can handle the weight of those cubes, like Blast, Saitama, and Awakened Garu. His next major feat of strength has to be the fact that he beat Elder Centipede, one of the most powerful monsters in all of One Punch Man, to within an inch of its life. In fact, it's believed that were it not for the intervention of the entity known as God, Elder Centipede might have perished that day at the hands of Blast. It's not often that we see this level of power in a person who's not Saitama or some overpowered monster that he has to defeat over the course of the series. While Saitama can be considered an anomaly, Blast might fall under the same category, as it's sometimes easy to forget that he's even human. While he's indeed only human in the end, his endurance is certainly greater than any ordinary man or even some top-ranking heroes. Blast constantly operates in space, which is already an extremely hazardous environment for humans without protection. He's also survived the rigors of fighting in other dimensions, like he did during his skirmish with God. The only signs of damage that he carries on himself are some scars and a slightly worn-out looking armor. We've yet to see Blast being pushed to his absolute limit in front of us, and while we got a taste of it during Saitama vs. Garu, the full extent of his strength and durability is yet to be revealed. Spatial manipulation. Blast is someone who's not just blessed physically, but also blessed abundantly in terms of the extraordinary powers that he possesses. If an enemy were to survive his overwhelming speed and strength, then they would be crushed by his ability to manipulate space and time itself. His mastery over these fundamental forces of nature allows him to create portals which he can use for a variety of functions. He activates these portals by bringing his hands together, which completes the infinity symbol on his gloves. He uses these portals to teleport himself and others to any location in the universe in the blink of an eye. While this is a very handy usage of this ability, what makes it truly terrifying is how he utilizes it in combat. In conjunction with his incredible speed and strength, Blast can use this ability to redirect his own blows at his opponents, catching them at awkward angles to land devastating blows. He's also able to redirect their blows and blasts so that they land harmlessly away from him or their intended target. There's no known limit to how many portals he can create in this manner. The portals definitely cannot be resisted, as even Garu and Saitama are teleported through them. The scary part is we haven't even seen how creative Blast can actually get with this ability. Thanks to his incredible battle acumen, Blast has created a unique and powerful fighting style which makes him both elusive and devastating to enemies. Gravity Manipulation, Gravity Knuckles, Dimension Cannon, and Giga Gravity Blow. Blast isn't only able to manipulate space and time, but gravity as well. His technique, called the Gravity Knuckles, is one of the most deadly moves in his arsenal. Just as the name suggests, Blast augments his punch with the help of gravity by making his fists light to dramatically increase their momentum before he makes them heavy right before the point of impact. This ability is so powerful that he can even knock about awakened cosmic Garu with it. Now, imagine combining this technique with his ability to create portals to launch his attacks. This lethal combination has ensured Blast remains on top of the hero world for years, despite having faced some of the toughest foes out there. One of the more basic usages of this ability is that it also grants him flight by manipulating his own gravity. A testament to just how strong this ability is the fact that his ability to close the portals which he creates is directly tied to him being able to manipulate gravity. While this might not seem particularly interesting at a glance, just think about it. Blast is literally able to mend the rifts in space and time itself thanks to this ability. He also uses this to trap monsters and enemies in alternate dimensions. Blast is also able to fire concentrated gravity projectiles at enemies that can pulverize monsters that exceed dragon disaster levels. He calls this technique the Giga Gravity Blow. As if the things that we just highlighted weren't enough to prove just how OP this ability makes Blast, wait till you hear what he can do next. Blast has a technique that he can utilize thanks to his gravity manipulation that he calls the Dimension Cannon. He triggers this ability by clasping his fists together, which lets him launch literal singularities at his opponents. Let that sink in for a second. Blast can fire black holes at his targets. Even just a single one of these abilities or physical attributes that he possesses would be enough to make someone an S-class hero. Considering the abilities that he has at his disposal, it becomes abundantly clear how he wasn't only able to almost kill Elder Centipede, but also survive his encounter with God. This allows us to nicely transition to his conflict with this super powerful entity who's being set up as the final villain of the entire One Punch Man saga. Blast, the man who defied God. While the exact origin of this mysterious being isn't given to us, we know that God is this all-powerful extra-dimensional being who at some point in history was banished from this reality. It's heavily hinted that his physical body was trapped within the moon, while his essence was removed from this plane of existence. Throughout the history of the universe, God has been influencing individuals by tempting them with power and corrupting them for his own use. His endgame seems to be to re-manifest in this reality in order to destroy all of humanity. One of the first individuals that he grants such power to is the Homeless Emperor, one of the major antagonists of the Monster Association's arc. The Homeless Emperor was just a regular nobody who was about to end his life, having given up faith in society and humans, but just before he could unalive himself, he was approached by God, who promises him the power to seize his own destiny and avenge himself against the society that failed him. The thing to note here is that even a fragment of God's power can transform an ordinary human, like the Homeless Emperor, into a dragon-level threat. Due to his inability to appear in the material plane, God operates in insidious ways by appearing in dreams or through those mysterious black cubes scattered across the cosmos. We know that God came into contact with Blast during his fight with Elder Centipede, most probably noticing the hero's prowess and potential. However, Blast rejects his offer and begins to battle him. Although this battle happens off-panel and we don't get to see it, we learn that Blast was able to hold his own and survive against this all-powerful entity. His current mission entails him finding these mysterious cubes to prevent them from falling into the hands of vulnerable individuals. That's just one half of the reason why him and his group are after the cubes. The other reason is to study their nature in the hopes of finding out more about God and its possible weaknesses. This is what keeps Blast away from the Earth, and it's not because he's a lone wolf who likes to operate alone like many believe within the Hero Association. He's performing a thankless job in anonymity, trying to fend off the most powerful threat we have yet come across in the series. Out of all the people in One Punch Man, no one is more aware of the threat God possesses, having lost a former ally named Void to its corruption. Now, with God's intervention with Garou, it has become even more evident that not even the strongest individuals are safe from its guile and influence, making Blast's mission against God even more important. For Blast, thanks to his own personal history with God, this mission is more personal than even he might accept. As the threat of God grows larger, it'll be interesting to see how this war of attrition that Blast has been waging fares. With how things are standing currently, Blast is the only person to have fought God, and thanks to the work he and his crew are doing, he's the last line of hope before God finally unleashes his wrath upon humanity. Marvelous verdict! Ultimately, even though his appearances are few, every time he shows up, it reveals a glimpse of a character operating on a level far beyond the other heroes by engaging in battles with godlike beings and dealing with cosmic threats that most aren't even aware of. His calm demeanor, unmatched power, and secretive missions suggest that his role goes beyond mere heroics. Unlike the flashy or attention-seeking heroes, Blast chooses isolation and mystery, reflecting a deeper sense of responsibility, as being a hero is not truly about fame or fortune, but doing the important things without expecting anything in return. His confrontations with the enigmatic entity known as God places him at the heart of the series' most profound conflict, one that goes beyond a hero confronting the flavor of the weak villain, as it questions profound themes like power, sacrifice, and the fate of humanity. In many ways, Blast isn't just a hero of strength, but of purpose. As the story of One Punch Man continues to unfold, Blast's legacy grows not from how often he appears, but from the weight of his presence when he does. He reminds us that true strength isn't always loud, it can be quiet, strategic, and focused on threats most people will never see. Blast might not be the main character of One Punch Man, but he certainly possesses the aura for the job. Time just flies by when you're with us, which unfortunately brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for sticking with us right to the end. For more videos like this, be sure to check out the rest of our channel where we post daily videos featuring all of your favorite anime and characters. For now though, it's time for us to say goodbye. We hope to see you soon in the next one, but until then, stay safe and stay marvelous.